Today we're going to take a look at how to get standard form from a general form of a hyperbola. So you recall there's quite a few steps. The first couple steps for the completion of the square is about exactly the same. So we'll have an x squared and put your 20x together and a blankety blank. Then you put your y squareds together. Notice for a hyperbola, the y, one of the x squareds or one of the y squared are going to be negative. So we're going to have to do something different. Okay. So on last week we looked at if the coefficient was something different than a 1, we had to do something different. But this is not a 1, so let's go ahead and remember the steps of completing the square. We take half the middle term, which is a 10. We square it. We put 100, and then we put that 100 on both sides. So when we complete this square, we get x plus 10 quantity squared. But now to complete the square, remember that everything, to complete the square, the coefficient of the x squared or the y squared must be 1. So we have to factor that term out. And this time we're going to factor out a negative 36. So when we figure out this new middle term, we have to say 288 divided by a negative 36 is what? So let's do that for a second. What would we get? 8. So notice that negative 36 goes into positive 288, a negative 8 times, so that's going to be a negative 8. Now let's take half of 8 as 4, square it, we get a 16. Now what are we really doing to this side? We're not adding 16. We're not adding 36 times 16. But what we're doing is we're really subtracting 36 times 16. So let's find out what we have to do to both sides. So again, 36 times 16 is equal to a negative 576. So we have to do that to both sides. And then when you complete this square, you get a negative 36. Keep that coefficient there. Half of 8 is 4, quantity squared. And let's clean up this side. So negative 612 minus 576 is equal to a 36. And now, just like we did with the ellipses, we're going to divide everything by that coefficient. And then this is going to get this real close to standard form. So what will standard form be? Our center will be at negative 10, positive 4. We will go right and left the square root of 36. We will go up and down on our hyperbola, 1. And then our hyperbola, since the x squared is positive, it will go right and left. So again, I just said a lot of things, so let's remember how to do a hyperbola. The center is at negative 10, positive 4. So this is my center. I get my vertices by going 6 to the right. I'm sorry, this is going to mess my picture up a little bit. So that's a vertex. And 6 to the right, that's our other vertice. We're going to go in the y direction, 1 and 1. And remember, we take these asymptotes and we connect our vertices to get our hyperbolas. Okay, so for this one problem, I'm looking up here now at the board and it looks pretty messy. So you might want to stop, make sure that you get each step in, and I'll try to do the second example a little bit cleaner. So again, the first steps are put the x and y's together. So let's go of 4x squared, 56x. In a minute, we'll complete the square. We get a negative 9y squared minus 72y. We'll complete the square in a little bit and throw the 92 on the other side. Okay. Completing the square only works if we have a 1 coefficient. So 4 goes into 96 exactly 14 times. Factor out the 9. Negative 9 goes into negative 72 a positive 8 times. And now let's go through completing the square. So completing the square, we take half of 14, we square it, we get a 49. But remember, we're doing this to this side. So a positive 4 times 49 is, 196. So add 196 to both sides. Half of 8 is 4. Square it, we get a 16. But now this is where you have to be careful. Negative 9 times 16 is 144, but it's a negative 144. So complete the square. Half of 14 is our 7. Just keep that negative 9 out there. Half of 8 is 4. And then clean up this side. So let's see. We get 8, 18, 288 minus 144 is 144. And now, like you did with the ellipses, you divide everything by that coefficient so that it equals 1. And it will look now like the regular standard form of a hyperbola. So we'll get x minus 7 squared. 4 goes into 144 exactly. Let's say 3 exactly 36 times. 9 goes into 144 exactly, let's see, 16 times, and then we'll be equal to 1. Okay. On the quiz test tomorrow, you'll have to remember how to draw a hyperbola, which, remember drawing a hyperbola, we have our center is at 7, negative 4. So 7, negative 4 would be about right here. This is the center. Since the x is first, we'll be going vertices, our hyperbola will be going side to side. And we go 6 from here. So we'll be going 6 to the right, 6 to the left. I might be off that chart now. And we'll go 4 as far as our width goes. Connect your hyperbola looking, and again, I'm probably off the chart when you're graphing that. I'd like you to work through the rest of the worksheet from last week. I think that was a Thursday, and start your review. We'll have time tomorrow for about a half hour of questions for your test, and then have our test after that. So your test will be tomorrow on Chapter 9.